Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Jessica here to do some card making for you. From one sheet of specialty paper, I'm going to make 14 cards. So this actually is pretty simple, but it does take a while to get everything prepped. So here's my sheet of specialty paper that I'm going to base my cards on. And I just need to cut it up into enough pieces to make 14 cards. And I'm going to use the flowery side, not the pink side, even though it is double-sided. And you can choose to mix and match or do both depending on what you want to do. And here's all the pieces that I cut up. And I'm going to, it's more than 14 pieces because I'm going to combine some of them. Like some will have 2 or 3 pieces on one card. And I'll have to cut out and stamp and make the card bases for all the other pieces that I'm going to do. So here I am, I cut 8.5 by 11 cardstock in half for all the colors that were based from the flowers in that paper. And these are all from Stampin' Up, by the way, in case you were wondering. And I'm going to fold all the card bases and then start to make each card. So this one has a white base, obviously, and I cut out a few extra pieces to make layers. I decided on the stamp I wanted it to say. I needed mostly happy birthday cards, so I think that's what I went with, sayings for everything. And I'm using just a glue strip thing because it's pretty easy when they work to roll the sticky stuff on. Sometimes you might want something stronger if you're doing lots of layers like I am, so that it's more secure when it's heavier like that. But I wanted to speed this process up a little bit because I was making so many cards all at once, and it also is different because you're making all different cards. It's quicker if you're, say, making 14 of the exact same card to just do the same thing over and over again, but these are all going to be slightly different cards, even though they're with the same paper and similar colors. And I'll do a quicker view of each card towards the end too, straight towards, so you can see what it ended up looking like better. And again, so I have all my pieces cut out, all my layers, and then I just need to stack them all together. I stamped my saying onto my label piece for what I wanted. And everything was already planned out because I knew when I cut the pieces how I wanted the card to be laid out. Where the saying was going to go, if I was going to add any ribbon or any other decorations, where I wanted the special paper to go exactly, and all the other decorations. So, sorry that's off camera a bit, but I've just got my flowers there that I cut out, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue in the center so that I can stack them, and I'm going to offset them a little bit so you can kind of see both layers, and fold them up a bit so they're kind of like a little puffy flower coming off the page. And that Tombow white glue works great for doing little dots, and so do those rolls of sticky dots. Those stick very well. And then I can just put it exactly where I want it without making a big mess. And I'm putting some dimensionals on the back of that label or tag to give it a little bit more interest, to pop it up so you can see it better. And I needed a button for the center of the card, so I had to go and find that. So there's that one. And another card. Again, I either punched or die cut or just cut all my extra pieces of paper up for my other layers. And got my specialty paper on there and just layer it all together. A little bit of the white Tombow glue again because you can get it exactly where you need it. And the nice fine tip point for putting my little leaves on the corners that I wanted. And you can really work with whatever you have. If you don't have a lot of different pieces that you can add, you can just make do with what you've got. I've got a little banner there, a little heart punch, extra interest there. It's hard to see the heart because it matches the paper too well. And I guess I did flip over the specialty paper on that one so you could see the pink side. Not very often did I use the pink side instead though. And I'm stamping my greeting on the cardstock again. And I've got all my layers. And you could probably tell I stamped it twice because the first time I wasn't really happy with how straight it was or how it ended up on the label. And it's good to lay everything out as well before you decide to stick it down so that you're sure you have the exact spacing that you want. And yeah, as I was saying, if it works, for some reason that package of glue strip tape didn't work that well and I had to keep on rolling it through to get it going again, and then it would get stuck, and then I had to roll it and then it would get stuck. So things like that don't help, but usually it will work well. And it's an easy way. I really do like the tear tape as well, which you can see some of that sort of sitting in front of me. But I decided I wanted to try and get rid of this broken sticky tape that I had because I didn't want to waste it. But at the same time, it was a little frustrating. So I embossed the background of this one with an embossing folder. What you do with those is you put a piece of the cardstock inside two pieces of plastic that have a pattern on it, and then you run it through an embossing machine, a die cut machine. Usually they do both, if not more. And then it comes out with a special design printed into it. So that's just regular embossing, not heat embossing or anything like that, obviously. And I used a punch to make the scalloped edge on the side of that triangle to give it a little more interest. And I die cut the flowers that I'm layering here, and I also die cut the happy birthday, which you'll see in a minute. Probably. And isn't it fun how cats like to craft with you, and they always want to sit right on your projects and help you out with them so much. There we go. Hello, kitty. Thanks for coming. What a lovely help you are. Just go ahead and lie right on top of that. Yeah, that's fine. No problem. And bye-bye, kitty. Same thing again on this one. Except it looks like I made it a thank you card. Sometimes I decided to go with labels that aren't as big, so sometimes you pick out a different greeting or saying to go, and you can also do the inside of the card, which sometimes I do, especially if I use a dark base like this navy blue card that I've got going on here. I will put an extra piece of white cardstock or paper inside so you can stamp or write whatever you want to say on the inside. Otherwise, it's hard to read unless you use a white marker, chalk marker, or something like that that writes really well on dark paper. Layering everything together again. I tied a little bow with my ribbon, and I'm going to pop up my greeting again with dimensionals, little foam dots. This one I think I forgot to record. That's how it ended up, the die cut butterfly and the die cut grateful. Maybe my battery died. Not too sure what happened there. Stamping my greeting. Birthdays are the best days. Hopefully they are. And glue and layer everything together again. Now it's really easy to find project ideas like this on places like Pinterest or people's blogs. If you aren't sure how you want to cut everything, and they will tell you how to cut your original piece of decorative paper, specialty paper, and if you're good with that, then you can go designing your own cards from there, or it'll also give you ideas about how to decorate and layer your cards. So you can change the colors and the greetings to whatever you want, but you can just use the ideas as a basic template layout for how you want the card to look overall. So though I didn't use anybody's specific card ideas, the idea for cutting, cutting, what does that mean? Cutting everything out and the basic layout would be available to you or to anyone who was interested. And instead of wrapping my ribbon all the way around here, you can see that I just wrapped it around the top layer of the card before I put it on the base of the card. So I didn't have to use as much ribbon, saves a little bit of ribbon space, and then did a bow and stuck that right on top so it looks like I tied a bow around the whole card, but I didn't. A secret little hack there, or not so secret, a little hack. And I'm going to pop up my greeting again. Any little bit you add that's simple, but can just make a difference in making that card pop a little bit more. And people will be really impressed, honestly. Other than your time, it can be quite a relaxing activity, and it's not terribly hard. You don't have to be super creative to make these kinds of things if you don't want to. If you want to, you can be creative. If you don't want to, you can get ideas from other people. Make it your own. And share it. and something nice and handmade for people. My paper was a little bit long, so I just trimmed the edge. And again, I scalloped the edge of this one and embossed it in an embossing folder to give it a little more detail. I die cut the congratulations out. So you can decide if you want things flat, if you want things popped up, if you want to add buttons or sparkles or ribbons to make it prettier, glitter you could add. You could do heat embossing on the sayings to make them pop a little bit more. I can show things like that. If you're interested in finding out more ways to design cards or seeing more of what I create, I'd be happy to show some of those techniques. And just leave a comment and let me know. So here's how all the cards turned out. Oops, that one's upside down. There we go, there's the next one. Newsflash, birthday's found to be good for your health. Yay! Another happy birthday card. A thank you card. Another thank you card. I really like that die cut butterfly. Another thank you card. I'll have to be sending a lot of thanks. This one's a little bit different. You can just send it to a friend just to say you're thinking about them. Could be sympathy card possibly. This one doesn't have a saying, so you could add a saying if you wanted, or you could just use the inside to write what you want your card to be for. Again, this is a little bit more any kind of greeting you could use for different things. Congratulations. Could be good for a baby or a graduation even, or anything. A job. Another thank you card. Another birthday card. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like or a comment. Please consider subscribing, and thanks for joining me today. Bye bye!